All right, fellas, we are back at it. Yesterday, I talked about my hoop journey, and I thought that was dope. It was therapeutic. It brought back memories of just times I haven't thought about in years. So I would ask y'all to go tap in with me and check that out, man. I was able to give my stories and just give a message of just inspiration to young ball players at the end of that. So I'm proud of myself for that. And yes, the video, my latest video. Go check that one out. But today, it's not going to be a sports topic. But today, the conversation is going to be on having a boss. Having a boss, and if that's a good or bad thing. And the inspiration for this video came from me watching just YouTube videos on the cat. Everybody know him, Dame Dash, who was the CEO of Rockefeller at the time, helped start the company with Jay-Z and Kareem Biggs. They grew Rockefeller to just a power in the music game. Plenty dope acts on the label. Beans, Beanie Siegel, Cameron, Dipset, the whole movement. Joel Santana, Jim Jones. Who else was on Rockefeller? Kanye, of course, and many more. Man, that I would say in the early to mid 2000s, Rockefeller might have been the biggest label outside of Cash Money, but I would say I would give Rockefeller the edge over them, or just by a bit. But just dope label, and just dope business. Rockaware was out at the time. They had a lot of stuff going on, but unfortunately, Jay and Dame split, and the company was basically disbanded, to my knowledge. And now, Dame is over here and Jay is over here. And that's just a small glimpse into the backstory of that situation. But Dame Dash did an interview on the Breakfast Club, and one of his messages is that he preached was just independence and not working a 9 to 5 and not having a boss, because that's not good for you. In terms of when your kids see you, you should be able to take your kid to school every day and not have to ask anybody for permission to do anything in terms of just professionally. And when I watched the interview, I had mixed feelings because I agreed with some stuff, but then there were other things that I just couldn't really get with. And I wish I could like sit down with Dame, not in front of no cameras or nothing like that, man. We sit down, we have a glass or whatever, and we just talk business. I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about music or just pure. I would love to tap into his mind and just understand why not having a boss is such a priority for him. Because in my industry, in the trucking industry, I need a boss. I need to work for somebody right now because it makes sense. I feel like a lot of truck drivers say, I ain't gonna say a lot, but many have gotten their own trucks and been in business for themselves. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of truck drivers be independent owner operators, and then a few years later, they back at a company, and they just saying loads were slow. I wasn't making any money. My truck constantly broke down. I was paying for that. I was paying for this. When you operate strictly on your own, yeah, you can bring in more profit, but everything is on you. Maintenance, insurance, finding relationships and partnerships, making sure that you making bread, making sure that you paying your bills. That's all on you. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but primarily in my industry of trucking, if you don't have relationships, solid equipment, reliable loads, you're going to be out of business before you even start. So just with my situation, working for somebody right now makes sense because I don't have the relationships right now to go into business for myself in terms of the trucking industry. I don't have consistent loads that I can find. I don't have the money right now to finance a brand new truck. I don't have the money to pay for insurance. I have an LLC, so that will be covered. But there is so much stuff that goes into that. And shout out to the owner operators who are in business for themselves right now. But right now with me, it just wouldn't make sense. Like I could take all the bread I have right now and buy a truck, but it would just be sitting because I don't have any means to, get a partnership right now and have reliable business. So I will be doing it just for the name, for name's sake, just to say I'm an independent owner operator. But I wouldn't be making no bread. My bills will be going unpaid and my family would struggle. And that's right now in terms of business for me, I have to do what's best for my family. I cut hair too, and I'm able to run that operation on my own. I cut hair out of my I got a setup in my house, and that's all me. Like I don't get, I own the house, so I'm not charged booth rent. I don't have to worry about just other stuff that goes on in the barbershop because it's just me. I'm my own entity. I can control who comes in here. I can control the prices, all that. So in terms of that, yes, that makes sense. I will make more money right now operating my barbering business on my own than I would if I went into a shop. Because first of all, I don't cut every day. I probably cut out of a 7-day week. I'll probably cut 2 to 3 days out of the week, and it's a secondary income. I'm not making enough money to even be in the shop, and my clientele isn't even big enough to where it will make sense to be in a shop. So that makes sense. But overall, just in terms of the conversation of not having a boss or, you know, just kind of downplaying somebody working a 9 to 5, I can't necessarily get with that because being a boss, running your own operation isn't for everybody. Some people like to take security in being able to work for a company, do their job, and go home. And I have to bring that to the house. Feel like when you own your own business, you never off the clock. Your phone always got to stay on. You always doing something for the business. You got to put your own money into it, and it's a lot. And I feel like when you own your own business, if love isn't there, you're gonna fail. Just because of how much stuff you gotta do when you run your own business. Luckily with my barbering situation, like I said, I probably cut 2 to 3 days out the week. It's not overwhelming. I make my own schedule. If I don't feel like cutting hair, I don't want to, I'll just tell people like, hey, I'm not cutting this week. Or if somebody says, hey man, can I come at 8 in the morning? I was like, no, you can come at 11. Like I can dictate that. I can't do that with trucking. I can't tell them like, hey, my route start at 5. Hey man, I don't feel like coming in at 5. Can I do 8? But they're gonna be like, no, you gotta come in at 5 because I don't own nothing there. I'm an employee. And it just makes sense. But in terms of Dame, this is another question I have for Dame. And I pray I can have this conversation with bro. I will ask him what's more important, owning something or having an elite skill, being elite at something or owning something. Because I feel like if you're elite at doing a service or making a product, that'll never go away. That'll never go away. You can own something and it can depreciate in value. And now what you had, what it was worth one day, isn't what it's worth now. Now I got to figure out, okay, how can I offload this because it's losing value, or I don't have the means to take care of this. It's just a lot. But if I'm the dopest at whatever, I would rather go with that. Like I said, before my wife had to come down and do the laundry, that would be a question I would ask Diane. Would you rather be elite at making a product or performing a service or own something that's valuable? And like I said before, with me, I would rather be elite at making a product or a service because those are skills that I always have. Like, nobody can take those skills away from me. God forbid if I get like hurt or injured, but none of that happens. I'll always be able to do those skills opposed to just owning something. Now, don't get me wrong. It's definitely perks to owning something too. Like, the value of that can go up over time. You can sell it and, double your money, flip your money. You definitely have those opportunities with owning something. But I would rather take that skill, man. I would rather, like, for instance, with Jay. Jay was an elite rapper and still is an elite rapper. I feel like Dame, I'm not going to use the example of Dame, but I'm going to say somebody else who owns a mansion somewhere in wherever that's worth 100 mil or we're worth 50 mil. So you got an elite rapper and you got somebody who owns a mansion that's worth some real estate that's worth 50 mil. In all honesty, I would rather be the elite rapper because I know with my skill set, I can make content, albums, material. I can tour. I can do something over years to run up my money to get to that 50 mil and damn near exceed that with albums because, the sale of albums, let's say I make a classic and over time that keeps going and going. I own my masters and that's all for me being elite at a skill opposed to I own a piece of real estate for 50 million but then it depreciates over time. The value goes down. And let's say it was worth 50 million, but because I couldn't take care of it, now it's worth like 20 million. And I just lost 30 million over some years. So I'm going to just go with the skill. And with that skill, I know Dame says being independent, you have power to do what you want. But if you elite at something, you have that same independence too, just in a different way. Like I said, if I'm elite at a skill and I'm going to jobs and interviewing, I can dictate what I want. I say, hey, I can tell them, hey, I'm the best in this field at doing this. This is the salary I want. If you guys aren't willing to pay the salary I want and willing to work with my demands in terms of when I want to come to the office or not, I'm going to go to the competitor and then I'm going to boost them up. So what you trying to do? I have that power being elite at what I do. And it's nothing wrong with working for somebody and still being able to show that power. I feel like ultimately every person is different. Some people need to go work for other people to get the best out of their skill set and maximize their skill set. And some people do need to be on the independent side, but it's different for everybody. You can't just lump everybody into one category because that's what works for you or that's what you're doing right now. So if I was able ever to talk to you and chop it up with you and pick your brain, that would be something I would ask. Elite skill or owning something that's valuable. And I'm on this side, so I'm curious to know like what your answers are for that. And like I know you've been going through some stuff over the year in terms of like just child support and just money issues. All I gotta say to that is, man, keep your head up. You hustled and was able to build up Rockefeller to a certain height. And with this whole situation, man, I'm not trying to get in your business. That's not my place. But I feel like, man, you could bounce back and just do the same thing. So I'm gonna tag you in this video, man. Hopefully I can hear from you. It'll be dope. And we can just chop it up on some business. I'm not trying to, be extra with it or, try to be out there. I just want to pick your brain just from a young dude coming up and trying to work his way in this life as a father, a husband, professional man, got my own little independent situation. And it would be dope to pick your brain. So, man, you take it easy, bro. Best of luck with your situation. I'm going to keep moving with mine, man. And salute to you, OG. We out of here.